Lego Landlord here. Today we're taking a look at Lego Transformers Hypercycle. Hypercycle here, turns into a hypercycle. The naming for my Transformers usually is based off of a pun, based off of what they turn into. Kyoto is an anagram of Tokyo, in which he turns into a Tokyo fruit truck. And my next Transformer, Subnautica, turns into a submarine, in which you can kind of get the point. Anyways, taking a look at the kind of graphics of this guy, you can see I've added these little hover pads which kind of push the vehicle forward, assisted by these wheels here. I imagine that this entire area is used for cargo and the motor is somewhere up here, and the people sit in this little area. It's kind of a represented windshield, if you will. But coming to the underside, you can see his head, but otherwise you can't see much. I think he looks good in this mode. He's very sleek, surprisingly, and in his robot mode, he does not represent that at all. So let's just take a look at comparisons. For comparisons, let's bring in Donut. You can see how heavily I've changed Donut. I'll get back to that in a later video, as I said, but you can see how he kind of scales with a regular car. A bit sleeker, a bit leaner, but let's get Donut out of the way. And let's get Kyoto in here. A bit bright, but I think it works. These two don't look too bad together, but let's just get him out of the way and let's move on to transformation. Transformation for Hypercycle is a bit fragile, so if anything falls off while I'm transforming him, expect it. First, we are going to come down to the cockpit section and bring this down, and then we are going to split this at the hinges, like so. We are then going to go and kind of adjust this whole area by bringing this section out. You want to rotate this. This is just on jumper plates, be careful. So if I reattach this, swing that down, you can do this on the other side and bring this out. Now, getting this to clear is a bit easier going from vehicle mode to robot mode than it is in the opposite. So whenever you're doing this, you want to make sure that this clip clears this wheel. But so these will form the legs. We then want to go bring this entire section down, bring this down at this hinge. The wheels will kind of sit on the back. Bring the head up. We then want to bring this back, rotate this entire section around, kind of slide it out a little bit, if you will. You don't have to do that, but I prefer to do that. And then this will kind of just sit in the notch of the wheel, like so. And then we want to bring the forearm around. You can kind of adjust that, and you can start to see the robot taking shape. So just pull this out a little bit, rotate it, rotate the forearm, and bring this back to sit in that notch. And there we have Hypercycle in his robot mode. Here we have Hypercycle in his robot mode, and now due to the fact of how I've designed him and how his transformation works, you do have to use a couple of Energon cubes for stands, or you can just use these in TransClear. I prefer to put these just right here, but I've elaborated on the fact that he needs these, and I've kind of come up with the idea that he doesn't actually stand on these little peg feet. He actually uses the hover arms to kind of prop himself up, but I think he looks very nice in this mode. I really like how I got the chest to look, and I like how proportionate he is, well, besides the feet. But overall, I think he makes a dynamic shift in character from his vehicle mode to robot mode, and I just like the entire vibe this guy has going for him. You can come to see that the eyes here are painted in a nice trans orange to kind of stick out with the rest of the robot mode. The chest is a bit angular, which is the main feature of this guy, and I really like that. And then I like how the wheels just kind of sit on the back, and other than that, he doesn't have a backpack, so no butt kibble. And the arms are very proportionate. Speaking of arms, You do have a rotation at the shoulder. The shoulder can go up and back, and you do kind of have an insisted butterfly joint, if you will. I just don't like using that because it breaks the sculpt. You do have a bicep rotation and a 90-degree bend at the elbow. The head can go 360, go back, forth. He does kind of have an ab crunch. You do have to break him apart, obviously. But he does kind of have an insisted ab crunch. But the legs can go in and out and bend at the knee, and you can move these panels, but I just don't like doing that. But that's about it. Let's get into comparisons once again. Bringing in Kyoto here, I think these two represent a good dynamic duo, even though they are on opposite sides of the Force. I think both of them are very angular in robot mode, and I think that's a good contrast for my Transformers whenever they turn into just boring cars. After all, they are robots in disguise, so you don't want a Camaro Transformer just driving around, otherwise you're probably going to get killed. But let's take Kyoto out. Let's put Donut in instead. Putting Donut in. These two don't look bad together, but I think I could have redesigned Donut a bit better. But you can kind of see the contrast between Autobot and Decepticon here, and I think that's all that matters. Anyways, guys, that's been it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for checking out my channel. Bye.